If you were in office right now, what would you have done differently and what would you be doing differently now?
Well, first of all, I take responsibility. This president says, I have no responsibility. It's not my responsibility. Well, who in the hell is it if it's not the president of the United States' responsibility? And I would be accountable and I would be transparent about what we're doing. And look, for me, it seems to me that the first thing I suggested this a while ago, we should have a supply commander, like a military person who in a war has charge of all the assets that the military needs. Well, we have soldiers in this war. They're first responders, they're doctors, they're people who are on the front lines, they're nurses, they're all the people who stacking grocery shelves, all these incredible people. Number one. Number two, I argued that he should use what they call the Create the Defense Production Act, was that insisted that he be able to go out and say, like he finally did with General Motors, I have the authority under this act to make sure you make ventilators for people in hospitals. We don't have enough of them. He should have done the same thing for the ingredients needed for testing, for gloves, for masks, for gowns. And I would have established, if I were in Congress, I would have moved to establish what they call a pandemic testing board, like FDR did the war production board, to make sure we got all this done. An open enrollment for Obamacare. People are scared to death, and he's trying to get rid of the only healthcare system we have out there, other than Medicare, Medicaid, which is, and the people who don't have insurance. Mm-hmm. And I'd collect more data. I was one of the early ones saying we have to collect hard data on the disproportionate impact on minorities, particularly African Americans and Latinos. I'd be doing all those things, and I think anyone else would be doing that.
And why do you think he isn't?
Because he doesn't want to take responsibility. He doesn't want any responsibility. I think, he's in a situation where if you listen to his press briefings, what's he do? It's all about him. It's not about us. It's not about the American people. He talks about the governor should thank him for what he's done. Well, what the hell do you think his job is? The people should understand that he knows what he's doing. He initially said this is going to go away in the warm weather. Look, Franklin Roosevelt in World War II said, look, the American people, I'm paraphrasing, can handle anything, but you got to tell them the truth. And he doesn't tell them the truth. That's the most important thing he should be doing. Look at the damage being done to so many families that wouldn't have to be done if we had just taken action and prepared. Or even if he didn't know how to prepare, if once it became clear to him, if he stopped slow motion everything with him is slow motion. Nothing, we got to move quickly, provide all this gear for people, the testing materials there's so much we could do to change this. And what I get frustrated about is when I look at him up there going through his antics about him, it's always about him, is what all the people who are getting hurt and some of whom are dying.